Hello and welcome to YakWaxLips, the podcast. I'm your host Michael, your point-and-click adventurer, and we're here to talk all things adventure games, like your classics from Monkey Island and Broken Sword, through to modern gems like Unavowed and Whispers of the Machine. We're here for news, reviews and interviews with developers and fans alike. So get yourself comfortable and grab a grog right here on YakWaxLips, the podcast. Hi guys, Michael here from YakWaxLips. Thanks very much for tuning in to this week's podcast. Really appreciate it. If you haven't caught the last couple of podcasts, please do. Last week's with Dave Gilbert went down really well. I had a lot of responses to that over on Facebook and Instagram. Thanks very much for all the likes and support. This week we are talking to Kay from Iskonsko Studios, which is an international studio. There are people based all over the world. It is fully remote. And he is the developer of the Trouble Hunter Chronicles, The Secret Creed. He's got a little secondary title right there. And it's a brand new developer. And it's a brand new game, which is not out yet. It is out in tentatively March 2021. And the reason that I got Kay on to talk is that right now I am in the middle of the Steam Autumn Festival. If you don't know what the Steam Autumn Festival is, it's where a lot of demos are played for the first time. So there are I think there's nearly 1,000 demos available on Steam right now. It does actually end tomorrow, so by the time this podcast is out, the majority of them will be down. But you know, I'll try to cover a few here anyway. Now they're not all point-and-click adventure games. In fact, there's only about 30 to 40 point-and-click adventure games, or adventure games in general. So I've spent the past couple of days, and I will spend today and tomorrow playing as many as possible. And one of these games, the very first one I played, was Trouble Hunter Chronicles. And Kay was very kind to come on and talk to me about what it's like to be an indie developer in times like these, being a first developer. It's their first professional game, and how he's working remotely, how Corona has affected everything, and basically what it's all about and what the game is about. A little spoiler alert here. It's a really good demo, and I do go into it a little bit. There's no spoilers about what to do in the demo, but yeah, we talk a lot. It's about 25 minutes interview. Before we do delve into that, it would be super awesome if you're watching this on YouTube, go down there and hit the subscribe button, because it generally really helps. And also the big like, because the more likes I get, the more it shares. And if you're listening to this on iTunes, please, what really helps me is apparently reviews. So 5 stars appreciated, but whatever stars you wish to give me would be very much appreciated. So before I delve into the interview, just a little bit of the other games that I have been playing on at the Steam Game Festival. Now, I won't cover all of them, because so far I've played about a dozen, maybe 15 or so. And I will be doing a big review video at the end of next week, which will cover everything that I've played, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And yeah, I try to pull no punches. You know, you've got to support developers, but there's one or two in there which are, you'll see. So, but what I will mention on here are the 4, minus Trouble Hunter Chronicles, because we'll go into that in a minute. But the 4 demos which I have really loved. And so the first one is Chinatown Detective Agency. Now, I did play this in the Steam Summer Festival when they had it out. They've updated the demo, they've extended the demo, a bit more polished, and added a bit more voices, and it's just fantastic. It's so immersive. Again, review in that Steam video that I'll do soon. So that's my first tip. My second tip is, which came out of the blue for me. I'd only seen the cover of it. I hadn't seen any screenshots, no trailer or anything, and that is 9 Witches. I think it does have a subtitle, but I haven't written that down. And it is really good fun. Tiny little low-res pixel guy that you go around, and you basically play 2 characters. You play a crazy guy in a wheelchair, crazy scientist guy in a wheelchair, and his helper guy, some Japanese bloke. I can't remember his name. I haven't written the details down now, but it's really good fun. Very humorous. My third tip is Incantamentum. Now, Incantamentum I did feature on my very first trailer talk video months back now, and the atmosphere of this demo, it's only a short demo, but it was perfect. Just exactly what I was hoping for, and every single box for me has been ticked, and I'm so excited for this. That's from Cloak and Dagger Games. And the final the final game for my tip that I've played so far is Honoria Crimes. And again, I think I covered this in a trailer talk previously. And it's basically you are trying to solve a crime in dreams. And that's all I'm going to say on it, because it is mental, but it's really, really good. All of these will get reviews in one big video very, very soon. So make sure that you hit subscribe if you are on YouTube right now. And if not, make a note. Make a note on your phone right now. Make a note on the back of your hand. Go to YakWaxLips YouTube and subscribe, because it's excellent. Right, at the end of the interview, I will be giving you a little rundown on what I've recently played. So make sure you stick around to the end. But I think it's about time that we've talked about what I've played at the Steam Game Festival, so let's go and talk to Kay about Trouble Hunter Studios. So get tight and enjoy this interview. Hello, Michael here from YakWaxLips, the podcast. Thank you very much for joining me here. Now, today marks the start of the Steam Autumn Festival, where dozens and dozens, probably hundreds, of game demos are released for the first time. So you get your chance to play some brand new games that are coming out. And one such game is Trouble Hunter Chronicles: The Stolen Creed from Iskonsko Studios. And I'm delighted to be welcomed by Kay from Iskonsko Studios. So how are you doing, mate?
Hi, Michael. Great to be here. I'm doing fine, and well done on pronouncing Iskonsko Studios. So great.
I've been trying it all day. I'm just like, the amount of syllables and words, and yeah, it's confusing. But yeah, Iskonsko Studios. There you go. I mean, it's a studio that I hadn't come across before. Is it a new one? Is this your first game?
It's our first public game. Yeah. I've been dabbling in code for most of my life as a hobby, but this is the first game that's coming out, and Iskonsko Studio is a limited UK company, actually.
Oh wow! So you're going full on professional, proper go for it. Excellent. Yeah. So Trouble Hunter Chronicles. I did play the demo yesterday, and for those listening, it was definitely worth it. It was really good. I got stuck at one point, so I delved into your Discord and said, "What do I do with this pen? How do I do it?" And the answer that you gave was, just what would you do in normal life? And so I went back on, and straight away, it was really clever. Yeah, so the puzzle design was really good. I mean, if I'd have known that from the start, it would have taken maybe 15 or so minutes, but it was like 45 minutes I was there going around. But the thing is, I never got bored of it, because even though the demo is 2 screens, you've got the main bedroom and you've got the bathroom, it's really beautiful. The art style and the music, there was never a point when I was like, come on, just finish. I was quite happy. I was quite happy to spend my time there. So yeah, let's delve into Trouble Hunter Chronicles and tell us about the story, where it came from and how it's going.
Well, first of all, we decided for an adventure game because basically that's the easiest game that's this to make, for me at least, because basically you just need the story and you need to think of the gameplay, how to make the user interface great, how to draw in players, but there's no 3D jumping around, big explosions, great hardware requirements. Yeah. So it's not that complicated to make, although it does require a lot of mind power, so to speak.
Yeah.
And we came upon the story like, well, I thought a detective story would be good. It would be something to draw in the players. It gives a lot of possibilities. Once I found a writer to work with, he suggested something mysterious set the area after World War II.
Yeah.
And we basically just brainstormed a bit, so came up with the idea, and the story, as I believe is the best way for it to happen, always developed by itself, naturally.
Yeah.
So I'm still quite stumped by you liking the demo so much. And I mean, the few guys who tested it out, we didn't want to have alpha testers for it, and I think it was a big secret, so we just tested it within the team, and everybody got stuck. Everybody got annoyed at how they got stuck, and I said, that's the beauty of adventure games, getting stuck.
That is, yeah. It's there's no point in things being easy because you just click here, use that, and then it goes on. It's that's how it gets boring. I really had to think, and the good thing that I really liked about the demo is that there is a lot of things to click on. Like you can click on the light bulb, but then you can also click on like the light shade around the light bulb. And so I was thinking, surely all these things you can click on, you've got to be using for this, but in reality, just use your head. It's like it's quite simple. Like that how
It's
to
all
solve the
it's
puzzle.
all normal. There's nothing like I gotta touch this cupboard for that window to fly open, and then this light will go purple. No, there's
Yeah,
nothing like that. But the
yeah,
game is a game. That's what I like to point out always. It's not like most games that unfortunately are labeled as adventures these days, which are actually just visual novels or God forbid, find the object games. You really have to think through this and you have to play it. It's not
yeah,
just click and I'm done.
yeah.
Uh, and for the story, sorry for getting a bit off track. Yeah. So the story, for those who really want to know a bit more about it, is you're an ex-OSS operative. For those who don't know, the OSS was pre-CIA in the USA. And after World War II, it was disbanded and turned into CIA. So the main character is an ex-operative who remained in Europe and is now coping with a lot of, stress, getting acquainted with civilian life, dealing with all the horrible sights he saw in the war. Some of these is influenced by our own development team stories from the war, and so there's a lot of history and accuracy in the game.
Yeah.
At least we strive for it. I hope the French don't get offended for being shown as crazy.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. In the description of the game, we just say that you do face some crazy Frenchmen in there.
Oh yes, that's my description for the French always, because their comedies are quite extravagant.
Yeah.
And we did want to have a bit of a lighter theme to offset the dark side of war. And yes, I even talked to one French actor who told me, yeah, no problem, the French are crazy. That's a great description.
Excellent. Now, the story is prefixed by basically showing the end of the war and what happened 1945 and all that, which to be honest, I didn't know. I went into it blind thinking, I watched the trailer, but for it to start quite heavily, it shows, I mean, it's all painted, it's fantastic art, so it's not photos, but the way that the way that it's portrayed is really quite heavy. I mean, does that, when the game comes out, is that something that's going to follow through the game? Because I mean, it was quite funny in parts as well, especially that idiot of a bellboy. But I mean, is that how it's going to continue?
In parts. We wanted to, like I said, we wanted to show how hard the war was and how it reflects on the lives after the war. Yeah. But also it's an adventure game, so, and especially old school style adventures always had some comedy to it, so we did offset it by quite a bit of comedy. So it jumps back and forth. There will be some scenes where you will meet someone, a patient, and you can talk to him, you can get some of the stories, you can relate to them, or well, if you can't relate, you can at least commiserate with his stories. But on the other side, you'll meet some guys goofing off and they're just trying to not do their job, and you're like, in every good adventure game, you're waiting for them to finish the job so you can do your own task, and
yeah.
it's all full of jokes. So basically we go back and forth. We didn't want it full on serious, but we did want to bring it into the game.
Yeah. Now, the way that it is, it's a first person view, so you don't actually get to see your character. Yeah. I mean, was that a conscious decision rather than having like a guy walking around and pick it up and clicking and stuff?
Yes, it was. Some people say that it would have been better with a character in there, but we tried to, like I said, take the old school adventure games and modernize them. And one of the worst things in the old school adventure games was the guy walking around on screen.
Right.
Don't get me wrong, it's great to see him there, but it turns into a walking simulator. The guy keeps walking on the screen these games, and even in some modern adventure games, for example, is it okay if I mention some modern
Yeah, go for it.
adventure games? Like, for example, Thimblewood Park, right?
Yeah.
Thimblewood Park, yes, from Ron Gilbert, who is amazing, by the way, and I loved Monkey Island, grew up in it, so all praise to him. But you have to walk through all those screens unnecessarily. The game would be 50% shorter if you didn't have to walk around.
Yeah.
It would be. And then you go to open a closet or something, and the character stands in front of the closet while it's open. So you have to move him to the side now to see what's in the closet.
Yeah.
So we wanted to, remove the bad stuff from the adventure games.
Right.
This way, it's faster, but you still have the immersion, especially in dialogues. The dialogue in the demo is to show you how dialogues will go. So you will have a full close-up of the faces of the participants in the dialogue, which are amazing, if I say so myself. Our character artist really does a great job. The bellboy is just scratch how great some characters are shown.
Yeah.
And another thing we wanted to throw out is pixel hunting. Don't know if you noticed in the demo, but each and every item has a hover effect on it.
Yeah, I think was it like you pressed Shift or Tab or something, and it all highlighted as well. So
there's also that's a helpful thing to
Yeah.
press the left control on your keyboard, and everything lights up. But if people start depending on it too much, they'll lose the fun of exploring.
Yeah.
But yeah, as you go with your pointer over everything, it glows and it helps a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought as well, like going back to the fact that, I mean, I love adventure games where you can click on loads and loads and loads of things. So constantly moving around the screen and then seeing that light up and this light up and it was I enjoyed it. It was really good. Now you touched on the art style there. Now, is it yourself that does the art, or is it a member of your team?
No, I couldn't draw a banana if you paid me. It would end up like an artwork or something.
Yeah.
No. We're a very small team. We're all over the world because we found ourselves on the internet.
Yes.
So that's amazing in today's world. When I wanted to start creating games when I was a kid, there was no internet, so that held me back quite a bit. But no, we've got two artists, and one of them is a character artist, the other is a background artist, and they're both amazing. I mean, seriously, it took me a long time to find them because basically the game's not making any money now, and it will only make money if enough people like it and buy it. Wish list, hint buy. But so everyone is working for free, and the level of dedication that's needed for this game to come out and the quality of work, I'm amazed at how great a team we put together.
Yeah. That's excellent. I mean, how do you, like you say, you found these guys on the internet? The internet's a big place. How did you collate this team together of these fantastic artists and the musician and yourself and everything? I mean, was it an adventure game forum or I mean, how do you get around to doing that?
Several places. First thing you do is you put posts around, like on a Reddit or different Discord servers and such, like, I'm making a game, is there anyone interested? And there's two ways this can go. You can either get absolutely no replies, which kind of is a bummer, but okay, or you can get a bunch of replies and I want to work with it, everyone wants to do it. So you think, great, cool, but no, first of all, half of them don't want to work on it. The other half don't know what they're doing. And then those that you do take to start work on it, I mean, we had some artists previously, when the game was trying to start out, they worked for about a month and then they just fizzled out, they lose interest, stop. So we've had one artist for quite some time with us, a character artist for quite some time, and he just, I don't know why, but he lost interest, let's say. And now we've got this amazing girl, and I believe she'll stick with us to the end. There's not much more to do, so she will. And you can see how we're updating the character arts. If you're in our Discord, perhaps you've seen some old screenshots with the characters looking a bit more squarish or so. It was a bit of a different character style.
Yeah.
But this one is more realistic, and I think with the gold with this girl.
Yeah. Now, in terms of the development, what engine are you using to make this?
The game engine is a little known thing called RenPy.
Oh, right. Okay. I've not heard of that one.
I see your face. So, like I said, a little known thing.
Because I did a little search beforehand because I was like, it doesn't really look like Unity, and I know like
there's a link in the menu, which is a passport, which is a writer's idea to have the menu look as a passport.
Yeah.
There's an about section, and there's a link made in RenPy.
Oh, okay.
So you could have checked that out. But yeah, oh bloody hell, I'm gonna throw this somewhere.
Don't worry about it.
So anyway, it's a game engine made to work on Python. So the code is in Python mostly.
Yes.
And the game engine is meant primarily for visual novels, but I've modded it somewhat to enable a point-and-click game.
Yeah.
So it's simpler. It's easier on the resources than Unity. I mean, there's no need for such large-scale hardware hogs for a game like this. Remember the old adventure games? I mean, Monkey Island 1 came on 4 floppy drives on an Amiga. So imagine that, just 4 floppy drives.
I know, yeah, crazy. I think Monkey 2 was like 11 or 13 as well. And
yeah.
Constantly changing. But so in terms of the development as well, and the story, like, is the story written all the way? Do you know what's going on? Like, is it all finished?
The story is completely finished, and the main code is also completely finished.
Yeah. So what's left? That's like, because the demo is out now. Obviously, the demo is always kind of work in progress, but it seemed pretty awesome to me. So in terms of the rest of the development, how much have you got to do until you see that release date?
Well, our release date is early spring. We're aiming for March.
Yeah.
And I believe we'll get there.
Yeah.
We don't have much code-wise. Like I said, the story is written, and code, well, I've been unemployed for some time, so I've had quite a lot of time on my hands. So I've written all the code. Basically, what we need is the art to be finished. This takes some time, but as you've seen, it's high-quality art. So yeah, it does take some time.
Yeah.
And sound, of course. Our musician is recording them all. And well, then just as it gets finished each day, I put all of that into the game that requires just a bit of coding, changing from my placeholder art to the real thing. Yeah. There's a video for those who want to see how the gameplay looks in placeholder art. It got the most likes ever. That's I have no idea.
Well, I've seen a bit of stuff that you've put on YouTube earlier on, and it is fascinating. Making a game is a lot of hard work. I was going to ask, obviously, we are in the time of lockdown, and there's the virus going on. I mean, has that affected you guys making this game at all? Because you are so all over the place anyway. Has it affected you, like timings or anything like that, or is it just not at all?
No, it had no effect on the game, except for me having more time, like I mentioned. But yeah, otherwise, no, COVID has no effect on the game because game developers are, pale, thin guys sitting at home.
Yeah, it's just another day for you, isn't it? Just kind of like,
that's right.
Yeah. Okay. So you're aiming for March 2021. For those listening, I would highly recommend going to play the demo. And also, is the demo just available for the festival? Is it going to be down on the 13th?
We're still thinking about that, but as the demo is sort of prequel, although it's not obligatory in any way, the game will make complete sense without it.
Yeah.
We might just leave it up there all the time.
Yeah.
It's because it won't spoil anything in the real game.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a really good demo. Like I say, I mean, I spent all day playing loads of games, and it's still one that stuck out to me. Keep coming back to that intro of all the black and white images, and it just really made me think. I always ask developers when they come on, because you spend all this time creating your own game, like, do you have time to dip into other games? Like, what games have you played recently that that you've enjoyed?
Um, Alas, not so much. Not so much. Both because of the there we go again, the unemployment thing. But the check, when you don't get it, you can't buy new games.
Yeah.
But also the time, because I've spent a lot of time coding and riffling through everything we've done, going back and forth, spell checking. I mean, we found so many bugs in the demo. We've released it, not live, but we've put it up there on Steam, and then one members of the team says, "Oh, there's this bug," and then you catch it, and oh, there's this one. There's lots of going back and forth through the code, so you have to catch everything.
Yeah.
But lately, I've actually been playing some older games, more for the inspiration, so to speak. Would you believe that I've just recently played again? I've played this game when it came out in '91, I believe. Cruise for a Corpse.
Oh yeah, the classic.
Yes.
Delphine Software, I think, isn't it?
Delphine Software. That's right. That's right.
Oh.
It's a great game, but it's so horrible at the same time.
It's really tricky because you have all those timed elements, and in my copy of the Amiga, it actually had a bug. So I got to a certain point, and you just couldn't progress. And I know that now thanks to the internet, but back in '91 or whatever it was, the amount of times I play it again, I'm sure I'm doing something wrong. And it turns out it was a bug in the game. But it's a great game. That I don't think.
Yeah.
I mean, where do you get it from these days? Because is it on GOG or Steam or anything?
Abandonware.
Yeah. So
you just Google abandonware, and that's. I've also played Beneath a Steel Sky again.
Yeah.
To remind myself, because I'm hoping to try Beyond a Steel Sky one of these days.
Well, I'm actually halfway through a Let's Play of Beyond the Steel Sky as well. So it's really good. It is very good. It is different though.
It's different, yeah.
Not just like pixel wise and the way it looks, but the player wise, it's it's fun. It's good, but I'll hold my full review for when I'm finished it. I'm about halfway through, but now the Trouble Hunter Chronicles, it's called the Stolen Creed, like afterwards in brackets, more or less. Is there any plans to like do any further stories in the Trouble Hunter Chronicles? Because I mean, Chronicles suggests more, doesn't it?
Yes. There's the idea. We did talk about the game being an action adventure series, not an action adventure in the sense of gameplay, but an action adventure in the sense of the story.
Yeah.
And yes, Trouble Hunter Chronicles, and then the subtitle is Stolen Creed. I'm not going to go into details because I don't want to spoil the story. Near the end of the game, you will find out what the Creed refers to. And yes, the game will also have a sort of cliffhanger leading into the future games, which I'm hoping again that the public will recognize and enable us to keep on working on these games. It's always been my dream to actually, break into game development and do that for a living. So again, now is a good time for all of you to, show
I think
me how much.
The Trouble Hunter Chronicles is looking like it's coming out March 2021. For people who want to catch up to date with you on a daily basis, like obviously I've jumped into the Discord yesterday when I was stuck. I'm sticking around in the Discord because it's fun to talk to people. Where else can people talk to you and find out more about the game?
Well, Discord is definitely the best place because we post all the screenshots there, and often we ask for opinions and our alpha testers, because we also had a small alpha test, or all our alpha testers came from there. So that's the place to be if you're really interested in the game. But we've also got our Twitter. Iskonsko Studio, I believe, is the handle. And there's the Instagram where you can just follow along with the images if you're just interested in the graphical aspect. And we sometimes post on Reddit as well, but there's not a subreddit or anything. It's just postings. So follow our Twitter or join the Discord. That's the best way. And of
Excellent.
course, wishlist the game.
I was gonna finalize it by saying absolutely, because if there's anything that people should do to help any games and game developers, it is wishlist it on Steam, because it pushes it up their algorithm to show it into more people's eyes. And whether you keep the demo on or not, I highly suggest that you go and wishlist it, everybody listening. And if the demo is there, download it. Like I said, it probably would have taken me about 15-20 minutes. It took me a lot longer, but yeah, go into it with just go into it and have a great time. And I'm really looking forward to this game. It's shot up near the top of my wish list, and I have a lot of games on there, like hundreds and hundreds. But yeah, it's near the
Michael.
top. So is there anything else that you want to bring to the table before we draw to a close at all, Kay?
There's not much. I mean, we've covered all the bases. We've talked about the game. I'm not one for talking much about myself, so I'm not going to tell you about
what you have put in. And yes, yeah,
that's right.
Yeah, excellent. Well, thanks very much for your time, and I'll hope to get you back on the podcast in March when it's out. And I'll put links to everything in the description. If you're watching on YouTube, they're down there in the description there. If it is on iTunes or Google or anything like that, they'll be in the little show notes down there. So yeah, thanks very much for your time, Kay.
Michael, thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to my interview with Kay from Iskonsko Studios. Really, really nice chap. And yeah, I wish him all the best, and hopefully he will be back on the podcast come March time. And like I said many, many times throughout that interview, I really enjoyed the demo. And like he says, he doesn't know whether he's going to keep it up. If it is up, I would suggest you go and play it. Just go in with a logical mind rather than a point and click mind like I did. And like I said at the start, just a quick note on the games that I've been playing and little reviews. Since last time, because life takes over a lot and there is a lot of demos I'm playing, I haven't started a full game properly yet. I'm still halfway through my Beyond Steel Sky Let's Play, which you can catch up on YouTube. But I have finished Welcome to Elk. You may remember on the last podcast I mentioned that I was about halfway through, and I was about halfway through, looking in hindsight. It was dark. I'm going to say it's dark, but it is emotional. And one thing I've been thinking about this for quite a while, and that's one of the things I have actually been thinking back on all these characters. It's been over a week now, I think, since I finished it, and I'm still remembering the characters. They are very unique characters, and I will have a full-on YouTube review about Welcome to Elk. I'm almost finished recording it, so it should be out in a couple of days or so. But it was good. It was good. It's very difficult to say because it's not my usual fare. It's a lot darker than I expected. So you play a lady called Frigg who turns up in a small island called Elk, and a small island has a very small island community, but each one of these people are real people. They have their own personalities. It's not just a mishmash of made up nonsense. It's very hard to describe. And one thing that is excellent about it is that all the stories involved are true stories. They are stories from other people, and they've put them all together in this one game to create an emotional roller coaster. And I'm going to leave it there because otherwise I'll spoil my own video. That's it for my podcast this week. I have an excellent guest in the next podcast, but I'm not going to say who. I'm going to have it as a surprise. So thanks very much for listening / watching. Please leave me a like, subscribe, review, all that good stuff. And also I've started a mail list. So if you really like what I do, I'll be pinging you. Sign up to the mail list. I'll leave links in the show notes and descriptions. And until then, yeah, have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, whatever it is you're doing. Take care.